The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.
Well, welcome everybody. My name is David Bush, and I get the honor to be your moderator for this exciting transformational opportunity where you're going to get a chance to meet one of the pioneers in this world of health and lifestyle coaching, and one of the most foremost physicians in the country who has really been transforming what it means to get healthy and to create optimal health and well-being in their lives. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to do a Q&A session, and we're going to get a chance to introduce you to Dr. Wayne Scott Andersen. Some of you may already know who Dr. Andersen is. You may already be familiar with our program, OPTAVIA, or you may just be a guest. And we want to welcome everybody, clients, coaches, health professionals, and those of you that just found this link on social media or somebody emailed it to you. We're glad that you're here. Dr. Wayne Scott Andersen is a New York Times best-selling author and the 10th physician board certified in critical care. After a successful career in traditional healthcare, which included directing a surgical critical care program and serving as the chairman of the Department of Anesthesiology at the Grandview Hospital, when he saw that traditional medicine was failing to truly help patients to change their lives, he left critical care to co-found OPTAVIA and to develop his groundbreaking system, Dr. A's Habits of Health. Since then, he has helped hundreds of thousands of people to change the trajectory in their lives and continues to lead a community of compassionate health advocates who believe that the habits of health can truly change the world. And I can't wait to introduce you to one of my mentors and my heroes, Dr. Wayne Andersen. Dr. A, welcome to the webinar.
Thanks, David, and it's great to be here. I'm looking down. We have over almost 5,500 people already, and that's just people that have registered so far that are on tonight. That's a record for us. You know, the word's starting to get out, but yet nobody in the country or around the world really knows what we're doing yet. And so I'm excited. This is an opportunity to really get a very important message out to the world.
Well, we're going to talk about some things that are important to the participants that are watching. And for those of you that are arriving right now, we'd like to see some messages in the chat of what are some of the questions that you'd like to get answered tonight. We're going to have some time to pull some questions from the participants. And so if you can go in and put a message in the chat message that lets us know what questions would you like to get answered. And while you're doing that, I'm just going to position out to Dr. A just to give a little bit of background of why you've given your life's work to this idea of getting America healthy and then the world.
Yeah, well, thank you, David. You know, I've always wanted to be a physician since I was a little kid. I love studying science. I love people, and I really was fascinated by medicine. So, I spent quite a bit of time. I trained in Cleveland Clinic and Open Hearts, and then I went on to the University of Miami at Jackson Memorial and studied in critical care and was one of the first board certified critical care physicians in the country, actually the 10th one. And, you know, when I came out, I was all full of vim and vigor that I was going to change the world, you know, and I went to work, and for almost 20 years, about 19 and a half years, I worked in the busy intensive care unit, ran an open heart program, took care of a lot of really sick people, kept some people from dying. But I realized over the years, I was really just reacting to disease. I was never really getting anybody healthy. And as these people got very, very sick, I mean, I felt good. I loved saving someone's life, but it was so few people, and there were so many people that were so sick, and I saw all the suffering that went with it. So as I got a little older, and, you know, I would wear drawstrings, you know, on my scrubs, were getting a little tighter, and so I didn't really realize that until I tried on some jeans one day, and I realized I was starting to gain weight. I wasn't as great a shape. I wasn't sleeping as well. I was working way too hard, and then I got married. I had an amazing wife, Lori, and we had kids, and I didn't get a chance to see him. And I realized there was more. And I decided to move upstream and start helping people get healthy. And it was so much more difficult learning how to do that than it was to do critical care. You may think, what? But it is. For people to change, I found out diets don't work. 85% of people that are on diets gain their weight back. I found that most people would start their New Year's resolutions and go for a couple weeks, and then they would fall back to their old ways. And I just kind of watched around me. Nobody was changing. People were getting less healthy, gaining more weight, didn't seem to be happy. And then as you kind of fast forwarded, I realized that I needed to do something very different. So started this program, wrote the first Habits of Health. I wrote that as a physician, mostly focused on the body, quite a bit about the mind, but really more from a physician standpoint. And that was 12 years ago. In 2008, November 2008, we came out with the first. We had over 1 million people without any advertising buy that book and use that book. And it became kind of their health Bible. And so I was pretty excited, but I realized that not enough people were really fully absorbing the full concepts of that. And I realized it was just a lot of knowledge, which there's a lot of knowledge out there. Everybody knows they need to be healthy. Everybody knows they need to eat better. They need to sleep better. They need to handle their stress better. They need to move more. But the reality is most people cannot make that change. And so the last basically decade has been spent with my coaches or clients, observing patients, working with doctors, and putting together this comprehensive system. And I'm so excited, because it launches tomorrow to the world. We've had our coaches take a look at it, who are our guides that help guide people to the system. But this system is transformational. It starts in little baby steps. It takes something as simple as you can see there as an easy little app that you can use to eat every 3 hours, basically to check your water, making sure you have enough water. And it has a thing called Stop, Challenge, and Choose, which allows you now to basically stop and respond in a better way. And so what we're doing is we're actually helping work on the mind. We know this, and as we fast forward, today, emotional mismanagement, people are not thriving anymore. And this is the best time to be alive in terms of technological advances. And as you can see on this well-being evaluation that's part of the life book, we're going to talk about each piece here in a moment. But in the life book, you'll actually write down your story as you start, and you'll write down what your story, how it is today, and then you'll evaluate where you are in all the key well-being criteria. This work basically was followed up by the Gallup poll, where they looked at well-being, and these are the key areas. We call it our trilogy of optimal health, but they're the key areas that kind of show you where you are and where your score is and where your current story is. And then what we're going to do, David, is we're going to help people over the next year build a new story. They have a coach. They have this comprehensive Habits Health system, which is so simple to use. You use it one page at a time, one day at a time. You have a coach as a guide that guides you as you start writing your new story. It gives you the reference book now, which is about basically over 70% brand new, which is a lot more about how to think, how to really optimize your mind, your relationships. It teaches you so much more about the things that really matter. And then basically when put together, it gives you all the things you need to convert. So I've never been more excited. Someone was saying it's like Christmas or Hanukkah, your or whatever your religious holiday that you anticipate with great joy. This brings us great joy because it's an opportunity to open up to the world tomorrow a system that works. And when you take the Habits Health Transformational System, which you can actually do on your own, but put it with a coach and with our community, and then along with the amazing fuelings and other products that we make in OPTAVIA, you have a really good chance if you stay with it and work with your coach to be successful and gain not just better health, but better well-being. So I'm excited tonight. We're doing this all hour. We're gonna be really focusing the coaches. We just finished our national convention. We were 11,000 plus strong, and so many of the coaches came up to me just to thank me. It's changed everything, and some have been coaching for many years. They just think that the system now puts everything in one place. It standardizes everything we do and makes it so easy to coach and so easy for our clients to coach. And if our clients want to become coaches, they'll see right away how much fun it could be. And we're going to talk about that tonight too.
Great stuff. And we are going to talk more about the logistics. I see that some of the questions that are coming in are more logistical, like, when is it going to be available? How much? We're going to get to that in just a moment. But before we get into that, Dr. A, I would like to have you just talk a little bit more about what it means to have optimal well-being days, because this is a new concept that you've introduced as a part of the evolution of this system. Talk a little bit more about what that means and what it means to create lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time.
Yeah, and I love it. God, I'm just looking. We're over almost 7,400 people on. We're going to blow this thing up tonight. It's so cool. Yeah, the OPTAVIA logo on the left side there basically symbolizes the 24 hours in the day, and also the progression as we become a higher version of ourselves, as we learn more about how to manage our health, manage our life, manage our well-being. So yeah, the 24-hour clock is a new idea. It's an idea because we need a new idea. 10,000 years ago, we went to bed when the sun would go down. We'd have a campfire. We'd hang around, tell great stories of going out hunting. And then we go to sleep, and we wouldn't wake up until the morning. So we had plenty of really vibrant sleep and energy restoring sleep. And now most people stay up late. They let their technology control them. Their blue lights are going into the early AM, and they're not getting enough sleep, and without 8 hours of quality sleep. So we actually ground the Habits Health Clock to 24 hours in a day with those 8 hours. You can move them around depending on your lifestyle, but actually go back to that just for a second. I want to show everybody. So in that, basically you can see in the evening, we go from go to slow. We actually have people actually slow down. You can see the orange 22. This is based on that if you go to sleep at 11 o'clock at night. So at 10 o'clock at night, you turn off and you actually plan that hour, which creates a ritual going from everything going on to slowing down to start get ready. So by the time your head hits that pillow, we teach you about your bedroom. We teach you all the cool things to do there, teach you how to get ready in preparation to build a ritual. Then boom, at 2300, 11 o'clock in the evening, if that's the time you pick to start, you can have radiant sleep and you're ready to go to sleep. Your body now has a routine. And then on the other side of it, you can see the gray. When you wake up in the morning, the great thing is that rather than wake up chaotic with the Chinese fire drill, like many people do, 7 o'clock comes, and basically from 7 to 8, if that's the time you decide, that allows you to get up, do the things you need to do, plan your day, put you in great shape. And if you look at the top, lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. Self-discipline is great to help you become aware and work on 1 or 2 habits at a time, but willpower doesn't work long-term. And if you try to lose weight or do any things you've done in the past using your willpower, it's going to fail you because it's extinguishable resource. So instead, we make you aware, and then in micro habits, which we're going to show in a little bit, we make it so easy that you can work on a habit. So basically, you learn it, and then you can actually do the right thing, which allows you to be healthy or have higher well-being on a day-to-day basis. So we're basically, how do you make more optimal days, more optimum hours? More optimum hours come from putting more optimal habits in there that support the long-term trajectory. And that's how everything changes, David.
That's great. And the app is going to be something that people are going to get a chance to download as a part of this system. And that's really going to be an opportunity for them to create their optimal days using this simple system that's going to guide them and even bring videos from you when there may be at a point where they're not making the right choices or the right habits. Talk a little bit more about how the technology and the high tech and the high touch of working with a coach are going to work together.
Yeah, and remind me to go back to the high tech, because high tech is there to serve us, but unfortunately what's happening, people are becoming paralyzed because there's such technological advances. They feel that it's disrupting at a level they can't adapt to. And what's about ready to happen with AI is machines and companies are going to come in and tell you what to do, how to feel, what to buy, and do that if you're not aware of it. So it's really important. It's never been a better time to become part of our community. But yeah, so like in the app start, you can see right here, let me get down so you can see it. It surrounds you in all 6 macro habits. And every day you'll work on the habits you're working on to make sure you're putting it in that day. And it gives you access to remind you when to do your fuelings, when to drink your water. If you have something comes up and you got that icky sauce and you're mad or upset, boom, you can stop, challenge while you're feeling it, write down. And then basically when you get with your coach, you can go over that. So it's very, very, very cool. So it's so easy. It's like your moment-to-moment companion. The life book, basically, then the high touch is that you're going to write your new story, and you're going to one element at a time, along with your coach. Your coach will check in with you, and you guys will go over each element as you're writing down, and you're writing your own notes, and actually journaling. And journaling in a way that's interactive makes it so easy. I wasn't a big-time journaler, but I made it easy enough so it's a habit that you learn. And we know that when you write something down, it affects your brain in a very different way. It allows you to now help build these new habits. And then the book is there right there by your bedside or on your desk that you can use anytime you need to reference. Everything is a set of icons. Everything is the same, so that as you're using the pieces, they actually put you in position to have everything, not just to reach a healthy weight and well-being, but to stay that way and potentially live a longer, healthier life, if you don't get hit by a car or something. So the whole cool thing about it is you don't need to go to 5 different sources that are going to tell you about 5 fad diets. Everything is based in science, but made easy enough so it makes sense, David.
Yeah, so if you're watching this webinar or this recorded video right now, the best thing for you to do is to reach out to the person that invited you to watch this video for more details, because that information is going to flow through the person that invited you, and it's going to be really simple. You're going to simply just go in and purchase the system, and then you're going to be able to download the app from the App Store or the Google Play Store. So make sure that you get in touch with the person that invited you, and they'll give you some of those instructions. And then what's going to come inside of your shipment is you're going to get a chance to get the Life Book, which this is the next item after you get that app downloaded. The app is immediate. And then the Life Book is going to actually be the thing that you're going to get into once a day to do the journaling. Dr. Andersen, in terms of the reference guide or the bigger book that's the Habits of Health second edition, that's more of a reference resource that people can use on an as-needed basis. It's not a sit down and read it from cover to cover. Is that right?
Yeah, that's how it's designed, but people are already telling me they've read it cover to cover. They found it so exciting and really allowed them to understand their body, how it works, how to work with their relationships, how their mind works. But yeah, it's designed to be, there's a reference. You know, the cool thing is you can go at your pace. The Life Book becomes the core part of the Habits Health Transformational System. It helps you track for the next year. You know, you write it, this Life Book belongs to, it's personal to you, it's yours, and there's not no two that are the same. So that's the piece you'll write in every day. You know, and if you page, you know, even if you just turn one page a day, that's all it takes to move forward. And with the app, it's going to help you remember, keep you on track, hold you accountable. Like you said, if you miss a day, and you know, a habit installation requires consistency. You have to do the habit every day. So I'll actually come on a little video and say, you didn't do it today. We need to do it tomorrow. So there's a little video of me so I can kind of, you know, remind you and have a little fun with that. But the idea then is that the book sits there for you when you want to learn more. And since everything is iconic, there's all icons, the pretty colored icons for each thing, you can track anything and find everything you need on a superficial level. What do I need to do next? All the way to being able to read and really understand in detail how your body works, how fat storage works, how insulin works, how all those things work. And I do that in very simple diagrams that make it so easy to understand. Because, you know, I don't expect you to know all that. I'm the physician. What I want to do is explain it. And from doing this now for almost 18 years, I've done this almost as long. I've been a lifestyle and basically an optimal health physician almost as long as I was a critical care physician. It's coming up on 18 years. And in that 18 years, I've learned so much from our coaches, from our clients, from helping people, from the successes and failure. This isn't some doctor writing a book from up in an ivory tower. In fact, that whole book doesn't have one stock photo. I'm so proud. Every single photo in that book, every single person is someone that's undergone the transformation you know, over the last 2 decades. So it's pretty cool. It's not a before and after. It's an after.
Yeah, well, I want to give everybody just a quick little preview of what this app is going to look like. And this is going to actually give you the daily accountability that you need to build the repetition and to build those habits. When you're in a position where you're just trying to do it on your own, or maybe you're setting a reminder on your phone, that's a very basic way of doing it. But now you're going to have a system that's going to help you to install the habits, and it's going to show you a history of all the days that you have practiced those healthy habits. So you're going to have lots of non-scale victories and all kinds of great things to celebrate because you're actually learning to create optimal health and well-being. Dr. A, you've used this analogy inside of the Life Book and in the book about this mason jar concept. Would you give them just a quick little tidbit on that so they can understand more about what to expect?
Yeah, sure. So the mason jar story was, it's anonymous. That's why I'm using it, because it doesn't belong to anybody. Nobody knows where it came from. But a professor came into a college, into his classroom. He brought in a mason jar, and he had these big rocks. You see the colored rocks in the mason jar. And he asked his students, is there any room to put anything else in here? And they go, no. Is it full? And they go, yes. And so he took out a pail of pebbles, shook the pebbles, put them in, and filled it up with all these pebbles. Then he basically said, is it full? And they're looking even closer with some skepticism. And they say, yeah, it's totally full. And he brings out some sand. He puts sand and shakes it, and it fills some more of the mason jar. And then he says that, well, now they're looking at it and they're touching it, and they say, there's no way anything else. So he takes out a pitcher of water and fills, pours the water in and fills it up all the way. And the analogy, as you can see here, is basically the Habits Health Transformational System is like this Bio network. It's this incredible thing we're going to create that's rock solid, that puts all the key elements inside. So the 6 macro habits, the habits of healthy weight management, the habits of healthy motion, the habits of healthy eating and hydration, the habits of healthy sleep and energy management, habits of healthy mind, and the habits of healthy surroundings. Those 6 macro habits, we put those in. We know that those are the key 6 areas. So I make it so it's so easy. Then breaking down those macro habits into the habits, the different habits in each category are the habits of health. The sand are the micro habits, making your daily, what you're doing daily, that action step, small enough so you always have the motivation, even on a day when you don't feel very good or just don't feel like doing it. You have enough ability to do it on those days when you don't really want to. So what in essence we're doing, and then of course the water is healthy hydration, and a key part, 55% of our body is basically water. So it's important that we stay maximally hydrated. What's neat about the analogy, it's throughout the book. And because of that, it allows us to, to not only put the book together in a way that is colorful, but actually as you go through the book, you'll go through, see there's the jar, so it uses that analogy. And then as you start your current story, you can see you probably have a few habits that actually are serving you and helping you get healthy. But as you go through the next year, element by element at your own speed, you can see what happens is the book becomes colorized, and it actually gets to the point where you are literally filling in and learning the habits, because we know the only thing, so you can see this is by element 16. This is actually talking about dealing with addictive food. We live in the most addictive, ultra-processed food era, and there's a susceptibility chart here where you'll measure how susceptible you are to the addiction of that food. But anyways, we fill up, you're learning more and more. So by the end of the book, you've now mastered the key habits of health. And the beauty is, we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but you have a coach that goes with you, and you can see this is the coaching guide that your coach is going to use to help accompany. You can see they match up perfect, and the coach will be using that to help guide you through the system. The great part about that, you're going to get consistent coaching, and you're going to have someone that's caring, that really cares about you, and most probably has been on the journey a little bit before you, and can give you not just help and guiding, but actually help you experientially because they've done it themselves. We've done something that no one's done before. We've made a comprehensive approach where from the comfort of your home, you can have everything you need to create optimal health and well-being for yourself.
Well, yeah, this life book is going to be transformational. I think that's the word for the day, is that it's going to be the resource that's going to help you to install these habits and to help you to think through some of the thought processes that you currently have. And what it allows you to do is actually write out your new story. And Dr. A, I'd love for you to talk about the concept of, stop wishing you had a better past and really writing the future in this life book.
Yeah, if you look at what's going on with technology, actually, I won't show you. Talk about it in the beginning of the book. But technology is almost going straight up, and human adaptability is flattening out. We're not able to adapt fast enough. And so what I found is when I'm helping people that really, truly want, by the way, we can't do it for you. We can help assist you. We can help awaken you. We can give you the tools. We can give you the transformational journey with the habits of health. We're going to give you the support of a coach and this amazing community where everyone is focused on becoming a higher version of themselves and becoming the dominant force in their own life, which is necessary. But basically, we can't do it for you. So we're here to help you understand that it's time for you to make the decision to take control of your health and your life. And what's neat about it, as we do that, we put you in great position to truly change everything. And for that to happen, it requires someone to help you. It's hard to do it by yourself. I didn't realize. So that's what the last 2 decades, people say, well, don't you miss traditional medicine? No, I'm helping thousands of people impact their lives every day, all around the country. And now we just launched into Asia, now around the world. It's a dream come true to be in position now. And this tonight, we're up to basically almost 8,000 people on this call tonight. Is more people than we've ever reached at one time. That's the scale. And I'm so comfortable now that the system will create predictable change if you use it, if you work with your coach, if you do the exercise, if you start to now learn these little baby micro habits and work in the right direction. By the end of the year, when you take your well-being evaluation again, you're going to see surprising changes and show how much you've changed. And hopefully along the way, you'll decide to join us. We want to change the world. I've got a goal. There's 7.7 billion people on the planet. And my goal is basically for this in the next several years to have it so that every single person has the opportunity. Because what's happening is our technology, especially our food technology, is spreading around the world, and the world is starting to suffer the same poor health that have here in America. And the answer is not more medicines. We're 5% of the world's population, and we consume over 50% of the pharmaceuticals in the world. We are selling sickness for big business in this country, and it's time to take back, and it matters so much what we do, David.
That's so good. And, Dr. A, 10 years ago, I was transformed by the first edition of the Habits of Health book. And it was the thing that really helped me to grasp this new concept of creating health in my life rather than just getting rid of a problem. But you've done some updates. You've brought some new science. You've integrated more transitional processes and frequently asked questions. Would you just share with the participants who are watching today what some of those main differences are in the reference guide and about the people, because you incorporated real people from the program who have actually transformed their health and their life. And I'd love for you to tell a little bit about why you chose to do that.
Yeah, well, thanks, David. So yeah, here's the book. You can see, in the old edition, I had my lab jacket on, my physician lab jacket on. In this one, I just have a polo shirt on, because I want people to understand that I'm not talking to you. Yes, this is all based in science and all the research is there. There's a tremendous, if you go to the back part of the book, there's literally, every reference is there for you of every study that supports this. And they're all, by the way, live studies. We use real studies, not animal studies. We're using the studies that really show change. But the most important thing is this book, every picture, as I mentioned earlier, that's Becca and Kevin Tinter. If you go through every single picture, that's David Miller. These are all clients, coaches, or business coaches that are now changing their health and changing their life. And they're throughout the book. Many of these people have been with me over 15 years. So the cool thing is we're making changes that are sustainable. Obviously we can't predict how long you're going to live, but basically we know this: if you subscribe to the Habits of Health and change your habits, become healthier, you work with your coach, you write down and actually make these habits permanent, you are going to change your health and your life. So the great thing about it is nothing about fads in there. We talk about the basics of how your body works. As I mentioned, 70% is new. There's a lot more. We talk about relationships, your accomplices versus your friends. Your friends are those that really, truly want to help you create better health. Your accomplices are the ones that want to get you in trouble. So the idea is that, and we're here for all ages. The nice thing is what you learn in here is sustainable into your 70s, 80s, and 90s. We're using very simple methodology. Habits of Healthy Motion start everywhere from a vibrant walking program, but we do it in small little bits so you can maintain your musculoskeletal strength and your balance and your stretch and your flexibility all the way through as you get older. Because, if you're using some really tough workout routine that's not doable when you get older, what do you do when you get older? So we're building, remember, we want to build these habits once. And by creating all 6 macro habits, we put you into the best position so that you can change everything. And by the way, we continue. As I get older, last few years now, I've been heli skiing. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. And now I actually jump out of helicopters up in British Columbia with friends and with a friend of mine that's a ski instructor. I couldn't do that 10 years ago. And what's neat about it is as we basically get healthier, you optimize your body's condition and you put yourself in better shape to stay healthier for a longer time. So I love that part.
Well, in terms of the program, Dr. A, you talk a lot about building that microenvironment of health, and that's really a personal responsibility that each and every one of us have to accept to start building that infrastructure around us using the tools that you've provided in this wonderful system. And we have a system that actually creates very predictable transformation. And these different components that work together, I just thought maybe you could share for those people that really don't know a lot about what we're doing or how all this works, that you could talk a little bit more about how the Habits of Health system actually works with all of the resources and the components of our program.
Yeah, go back just for 1 second, so I want to amplify. Our idea was this: our worlds are chaotic. We know that logistically, we always have things going on. We know stuff's going to happen. Life is not intrinsically stable. We need to be able to 24/7 command our health by our choices, learn how to do that, know what we don't know that's necessary, be coached to now become competent at that, and then allow it to become unconsciously competent. So we've ingrained these new habits, so we become this person that can adapt to the rapidly changing world. What's so amazing about it is that if you look at yourself in the center, your coach is putting their arms out around you to guide you to make sure you're connected to your peers, connected to the fuelings, to the virtual clinic, to the system, and this from the comfort of your home, so you don't have to have anything special. In fact, I teach you in here, and on the habitsofhealth.com, we actually have exercise videos that allow you to show you as you get to that point. But we start off, if you're not exercising now, we're going to start with non-exercise activity, moving more, standing more, getting up and walking to the water cooler at the other end of your office. We're going to show you how to use the micro habits to start learning habits of healthy motion, and then progress up to you eventually start exercise. It may take you 3-6 months before you're doing that. We want to make sure we're always going and building on your foundation, so you're surrounded in this micro environment of health, this bio network. And what we do is, as coaches, which is so cool, we start with ourselves. We start with our own health, and then we reach out and help others. So on both sides of it, our coaches actually are some of the healthiest people that are using the system, because they're helping others and they're learning. Plus, there's great meaning and purpose they're being around. So yeah, go to the next one. So the 4 main elements of OPTAVIA, which is basically is our community, is first the coach. And as I showed you, they put their arms around you. They're there to help you be your drill sergeant or your cheerleader. They figure out what works best for you. They're there as an empathetic person, a human being caring about another human being. The Habits of Health we've been talking about is this incredible, launching tomorrow. It's brand new, brand spanking new. The OPTAVIA community are all the stories in here. It's what we're doing tonight. It's our ability to reach out together and work for the same common goals. Our values bring us together. Our beliefs separate us. We want to help people become better parents, healthier in the community, helping all the key areas of the help with the relationships. And then, of course, the fuelings are this incredible way we use to help you reach a healthy weight. And then they're great portable food you can take with you to overcome those logistics. You know, I've been using them for 18 years. And what I'm talking about is we have very much a big difficulty in eating healthy because you just don't have time. And the main restaurants, fast food restaurants out there, they're not selling you healthy food. And if you go in there and they have a salad, you're not going to buy a salad. You're going to buy a cheeseburger. So anyway, we go through all those things from A to Z in small little steps to learn at your own pace.
So good. So for all of you that are wondering, okay, what's the next step? The next step is to reach out to the person that invited you to this webinar or to watch this recording of a video, and to ask for the next step. Because for each one of us, we may be a little different in where we're at in the process. If you're already a client or a coach, you may have a different step than the person that's never heard about this before. So reach back to the person that invited you, and they will meet you where you're at, and they'll give you the next step that's appropriate for you. This next question, Dr. A, is kind of a big one. I'm asking you back to this screen for just a moment, and I'd like for you to put into the comments what quadrant you are in regards to the success fulfillment quadrant. If you look at these different 4 quadrants, you can begin to kind of identify where you are by just grading yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 vertically and 1 to 10 horizontally. And while you think about that, I want Dr. A to explain a little bit more about why he chose to include this in his Habits of Health transformational system.
Well, you know, David, in the Gallup poll work, they wrote a book called Wellbeing. They actually, it was very interesting. They looked about the key areas which are part of our trilogy, and they looked at what we do with our days. In other words, our career or how we fulfill our days. And they found that it's 2 times everything else. You know, tragic enough. You know, a man who loses his job for a long period of time basically suffers more psychologically than the loss of their spouse. I mean, it's that powerful, that important for us to feel that our days, whether it's being a mom, being a grandmom, being a granddad, you know, working as an executive, being a physician, whatever it is you do, teachers, gosh, teachers are so important. But bottom line is, for most people, they kind of grow up since they were little kids with the horizontal continuum, failure and success. And they kind of are always kind of going and using, usually, unfortunately, external measures. You know, what kind of car they have, what their position is at their job, what kind of house they have. And they're all external things. They're based on either fame, they're based on attractiveness, or on wealth. And unfortunately, a lot of people spend the first half of their life working so hard to be successful. Then they finally become successful. They spend the last half of their life literally focusing on using the money to keep them from dying because they're sick and they need hospitalization. So bottom line is, what we've looked at is a different socioeconomic model. It's a model where our coaches can do something that brings great meaning and purpose and literally allows them to be part of this successful mission and be compensated by bringing value to the marketplace. So what I love about it, for most people, look at where you are now. If you're not successful, obviously we want to take care of our needs. We need to fulfill our needs for our family. We want to belong and be part of that. But it's the intrinsic motivation. Doing something we love to do that's so critical, getting good at it, and then sharing it with others. And that's what we do at OPTAVIA, and why I like to look at this quadrant. So I can look at myself. When I came out and started in critical care, I was in quadrant 1. I became more and more successful as I became more accomplished as a physician. But I noticed over time when I got married and then started having kids, I felt I was starting to go down towards a little bit down towards quadrant 2. Worn out, successful, not necessarily depressed, but just tired all the time. Didn't get a chance to see my kids. So I left it and I went up and I lived on credit cards for 2 years to go get this thing started. Lori never knew that, but had a ball. I was with my kids, spent lots of time. And then, over the last several years, I've now moved back up where this idea has taken off and we're successful. And it's been awesome. So basically, quadrant 1 is that you're doing something you enjoy doing and also you're being successful. So what I can show you is if you look at this optimal health and well-being on the vertical axis and then on the horizontal over time, you can see the orange path is the one most people. 95% of us are born optimally healthy, and over time we start to deteriorate our health and go more to what I like to call non-sick. We're not really sick yet, but we're not feeling that well. We'll get down more often. We may have, lethargy. We're tired. And then eventually we get sick, and that's where the medical community takes over. What we've done is create a very different health path. And what's great about our health path, as you move as a client and you learn over the next 12 months, you're going to increase your health because you're learning so many important things as you learn the new habits of health. Also working with your coach, being part of a community where you feel connected and feel you're an important part of it. By the way, one of the key things I'm finding more and more for the general public in the United States and basically even around the world now is they're starting to feel they're being left, that they're being passed by. The technology's changing everything with AI and all the changes, that they're not connected. They almost feel, some of them, useless. Even if they're doing okay financially, they just feel they're not in the mainstream. Well, OPTAVIA and what we're doing is in the mainstream. We are literally part of an organization that is changing the very socioeconomic structure of our planet. We're doing things where it's a win-win. As we become more successful in this business, we have more time to work on our health. We know that we're working on our healthy mind so we can be better service of our clients and of our coaches. And so everything we're doing is based on fully winning. And by the way, to our planet, as we teach, to use more of a plant-based diet and learn to conserve our planet, we're actually basically creating a new culture. We're building a new story for the 21st century, one based around the human experience and around the human mission to actually help people become optimally healthy, bring health back. It matters for you. It matters for us. It matters for our communities. It matters for our country. And it certainly, as I've gone out to Asia now and looked at what's going on, it matters for the world. And I can't literally say how excited I am, because tomorrow, as we launch this system and it starts going around the world, we literally change the story for all those that raise their hand and want to do the work. And I want to make sure it's not going to be done for you. You can't buy this system and think it's going to be done for you. You have to want to do the work. You have to want to, but the work is made so step fashion, so easy to do that everybody can do it. I'm convinced that everybody puts their mind to it, works with their coach, uses the OPTAVIA community, uses our feelings, can actually change their health. They can start reaching a healthy weight. They can start moving more. They can sleep better. They can basically start working on their stress reduction, learn how to put their mind where they want for as long as they want through using the Stop, Challenge, and Choose technology. We're basically changing the world, David.
That's so awesome. And so if you're watching this right now and it's a recording, make sure that you reach back to the person that invited you to watch this recording on August 1st, 2019. Everything improves. And we thought it might be a nice idea, Dr. A, to bring in some of the stories that have been featured inside of the new transformational system. And I want to introduce Amber Smithson as a longtime fan and advocate and one of your top health coaches in the organization with OPTAVIA, and have her talk a little bit more about her transformation story, because it wasn't just about idea of getting healthier physically. Amber, welcome to the webinar.
Before she takes it over, I just want to show this. So here's Amber and Jared on the Habits Health on my sailboat when we did start doing the photo shoot for that, and you can just see how vibrant, healthy, and it wasn't always so, Amber, right?
That's right, Dr. A. Thanks for having me on tonight. One thing that I can say is when I read The Habits of Health, the first version, I was 100% all in. And everything that I read in that book was what I believed to be healthy and a lifestyle change, because I had always been someone who was against dieting. And I still am today. I'm for people changing their habits and creating long-term changes. And I personally used to be overweight. I had high cholesterol. My blood sugars were all over the place, and I had really low energy. And I actually lost my weight before I even found OPTAVIA. And I tell people how lucky they are if they are able to do the weight loss phase with us, because of the simplicity and how straightforward it is. But for me, I had so many people asking me, Amber, help me. How can I do this? How can I make these changes in my life like you had? And I would just line out every single little thing and count every macro and do this, and people would glaze over. And I probably tried to help about a dozen people, and none of them were successful until we found OPTAVIA. And we have this just straightforward, simple to follow program for your eating that kind of frees up that mind space for you to start diving in to your books, for you to start thinking about the behavioral modification mindset side. And you have someone with you, you have a coach to be accountable to. And that was so huge for my husband and I to really be able to take our health to the next level. And so I'm just so thankful that we actually found this. We started coaching because we believed in it at that higher level. And just the people in my life, friends, family, people that I met after we started OPTAVIA, just how much their lives have changed. And not just with our bodies, but healthy body, healthy mind, and healthy finances. I mean, it's a complete 180 shift from the 10 years ago when we started with you guys.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right, Amber. And you know what's so great? I have an opportunity to watch you transform. I got to meet you. Jared brought me up, and I got to meet your son. I mean, I remember when they were just like yesterday, they were little kids. That's how long we've been together. And to know they've grown up in that environment. You know, we're creating a place where people can thrive, where kids can learn to eat healthy. They have their parents back. I've never seen anything like it. And, you know, my favorite part of the National Convention are all the kids that come up and they want a picture. They want to give me a big hug and thank me. They're proud about what they're eating. You know, we're doing healthy habits for all humanity. You know, we start talking about helping the communities and going into the underprivileged communities and really working to start creating scouts, you know, that are health scouts. So everything we're doing is about helping create a better life for people. And you've been a tremendous advocate. It's so great to have you. And by the way, you're so powerful. You know, this call tonight, this Habits Health call, this is a special one because we're launching the system tomorrow. But we do this call every week, and it's a great place to know as a client, you know, that you are supported, that we're here. You'll have your coaches support you. You'll have these calls every week to support you. And it's fun just to be here, because I saw someone say they hate dieting. Well, good, because that's not what we do. We actually help people in little micro habits learn to eat every 3 hours. We help use our fuelings to help it make it easier to get started, and then teach you everything you need so you can then fill out a plate or go to the restaurant, choose the right things. The app has downloadable where you can look and see whether it's in the green so you know what to eat all the time to help you be healthy, but to have fun. You know, we don't want a restricted period of time. We want to teach you the habits you can use for the rest of your life to be able to do all the things you want to do and do them in a fashion so you can thrive, have lots of energy, and be there for your family or community. So Amber, thank you so much.
Yeah, and Dr. A, you just alluded to the idea that we are going to be doing follow-up videos and webinars for people to actually go through the life book together. And Amber's actually one of the key leaders in that movement to really bring this information in a weekly format and be stored in an archive. And you've already put some great videos in our OPTAVIA YouTube playlist underneath the playlist Your Life Book. So you can go to YouTube and you can look at the playlist underneath OPTAVIA called Your Life Book. And you actually have done some introductory videos to give individuals kind of a starting point to understand where things are going. Anything else you want to say on that?
Well, yeah, just that every element has its own video. To start it, it's a welcome from me, talks a little bit about it to get you started. Then obviously as you go through each element, you'll have some questions, you'll have things you'll write down comments. Then your coach has basically a guide where they'll go over the same questions you're asked to make sure you guys have understanding of them before you move on. So everything is done so we have multiple redundancy. It is difficult to make change. I wish I had blue-green algae from the bottom of a volcano or tree bark from the lower Amazon that you could take a pill and suddenly have optimal health and well-being. But it's not coming. Even with all the cybernetics, even with all the nanotechnology, unless you take good care of your body and your mind, none of that stuff's going to matter. So what we're doing is preparing you to hopefully live a longer, healthier life if you learn the habits of lifestyle change that can make the difference. We're pretty excited about that.
Yeah, you bet. And so make sure if you're watching this video to contact the person that invited you so they can get that ordered, because there is a little bit of a shipping delay. And while you're waiting for it, you can be watching some of these tutorial videos, and then make sure that you ask the person that invited you to get you invited to the upcoming series where we're going to be going through each one of the 26 elements in the life book together as a community, and all those will be archived. So if you missed the recording or missed the live version, you can catch a recording. Well, next up, Dr. A, I want to bring on a couple who's also been transformed. They've been around our community for quite some time, and we don't make any promises about bringing couples together to become healthier, but these two have done an amazing transformation, both physically, mentally, and financially, and I can't wait to introduce them to our community. Dan and Megan Valentine, welcome to the webinar.
Yeah, hey guys, and here's a picture of Megan having some tea, some nice relaxing tea. It's so great, Dan and Megan, you guys have been incredible partners, and you're helping so many people change their life, and it's so cool to watch when you started how it's changed your life.
Yeah, you know, I'm sitting here listening to everything you're talking about, and it's a little surreal. 5 years ago, I was living a completely different life, and we've both experienced, and our family has experienced everything that you just got done talking about, and it changed everything. Someone asked me once, what changed? I'm like, everything. And I didn't realize, I think, how unhealthy I was until I discovered again what health felt like. And it wasn't just a weight thing. What I didn't realize was there's this thread that goes between health and finances and stress and relationships and sleep and, you know, everything that you've taught us through this program over the years. And I mean, all I can say is thank you for a new life. My kids got a new dad. My wife got a new husband. I keep asking her, she didn't like the old one or what?
It's just an upgrade. That's
yeah,
an
upgrade.
And inside too, you know, the operating system inside as well as the out. And, you know, that's what's so beautiful, just to watch you guys grow. I remember when you first came in, you were enthusiastic. You've helped people your whole life. You've always had a caring, empathetic souls, but just to watch you guys come alive, you know, you were there almost the hero for other people. And now you're vibrant in your own lives and your, you know, ability to be there for your family and make the adjustments that life throw in the way. I mean, all these things are the ability to be part of an incredible mission that we're doing and then help others do the same thing. It's so cool.
Yeah, 100%.
We love it. No, I always have so much gratitude whenever I get the chance to just come on here, because I can remember the day that he went to go play with our kids on the trampoline and came back in 2 minutes later thinking he was having a heart attack, you know, and us talking about, like, I need you to be here to walk those girls down the aisle, you know, and him making that choice and having a vehicle that worked. And you know, I'm such a believer in the 4 components. Like, if you don't want to take part in some of the components, I don't want to coach you, because I can't promise you any kind of results without that. And I saw such a difference in him, and then choosing to come on board. It's just been life-changing for for us as a couple, as a family, and just creating this life that we're passing down to our kids and hopefully offering to other people. So always just such gratitude.
Yeah. And we're changing the story. We're actually changing the story. The stories of the 20th century are gone. There is no story for the 21st century, so we're making one where humans, technology is great. Listen, you wouldn't want to live any other time. We were talking about that, right? What other age was better? Well, I mean, for this many people, never. We're curing genetic diseases. We're doing so many incredible things. We're able to very shortly be in cars that are so much safer. When I was a kid growing up, they used to have a joke, not a joke, it wasn't a joke, it was serious, that planes went down in threes. And very rarely, now air travel is safer than it ever has been. There's so many, but the human spirit feels like it's being left behind. And we're taking that back. We're going to put technology in the right place, and we're going to be there to create empathy and the human connection and bring back the joy of being humans and working together and take control of this planet and make it the safe place for our kids, our grandkids, and all their grandkids.
So good. Thanks, Dan and Megan. And Dr. A, as we wrap up here tonight, there's some options that people can take action on. And really, we call them the good, the better, and the best. A good option is that you can contact the person that invited you. Hopefully, it's one of our OPTAVIA coaches or maybe one of our clients, and they can get you connected to one of our OPTAVIA coaches who can give you the next step. Whether it's a copy of Dr. Andersen's free ebook, Stop, Challenge, and Choose, whether it's a health assessment and a well-being evaluation that's complimentary, that just helps you to evaluate where you are and maybe setting some goals of where you want to go, and maybe adding you into a community of people who are moving forward with your health. Maybe you're not ready to join our movement and to join our program and to be transformed by this system, and that's okay. We're good with that if you are, but what we know is better is to actually be involved in our transformational system and to use Dr. A's new Habits of Health transformational system to begin creating optimal health and well-being, and to work with one of our coaches and to use all the components that Dr. Andersen talked about. And what's best for our world, and I'll let Dr. A talk to more about this, but what's best for the world and for America and for everybody is that everybody gets healthier and invites their family and friends to do it. And the OPTAVIA coach opportunity is what we need more of, because there's too many people that are unhealthy, right, Dr. A?
Yeah, and just like, last night or 2 nights ago, we had our coaching call where we were coming up really excited about the national convention. We were just amazed at just the pouring out of camaraderie that are all focused on health and vibrancy and see their future. They see a bright future where they're home with their families. They're there in their communities. I mean, they talk about, the world right now as it changes and AI comes in, they're talking about, does the government have to step up for all these people that aren't going to have jobs? Well, they are going to have jobs. They're going to come be part of what we're doing because it's the most fun thing. It's a lot cooler. Let machines take over the mundane things, right? Let us have the spirit to grow and enjoy ourselves and have the time to be healthy and vibrant. And I'm not talking about utopia. I'm talking about protopia. And the word protopia means the ability to create the life you want for yourself and the people around you. And I highly suggest that you consider. It matters so much. This was the talk I gave. It matters who we are, what we become. It matters. We matter. The community matters. Our world is upside down with so much hatred and things that are wrong. What we're about is bringing value back where moms can be home to raise their kids, where we can have loving relationships with our families, where we can reach healthy weights, where we can actually adapt and like energy bars to the changes that are occurring versus being stressed out, oh, here's another change in the world. Because the world is going to change. And if you're sleepwalking through life and you're not really focusing on kind of awakening yourself and starting to understand your stories and how they affect how your health and your well-being, then basically you're most probably going to be left behind by technology in general. So, I'm not saying you have to come join OPTAVIA. I would love you to use the system because it can change your life. But bottom line, it's the place I know where people care. We're using a system. We have a community, and it's focused on bringing people of all ethnicities, all walks of life. We don't care about anything. What we care about is the opportunity to give you potentially a better life and a better health. And what Megan and Dan were saying, their lives have changed dramatically and everything about it because they've one healthy habit at a time. They've made the decision to lead from the future of optimal health and well-being to move along that path and bring their family, their friends, and their community with them. So as we close up tonight, thank you guys. We just broke the all-time record. We had 4,000 coaches on our call Monday. We had over 8,000 people tonight. So that's what happens. If we all just decide to basically spend a little time, focus on ourselves and our own health and well-being, and reach out and help others, that's how we're going to change the planet. One healthy habit, one healthy person at a time. So David, thank you so much for hosting this. And for everybody, make a decision, grab your coach, go out tomorrow morning, order the Habits Health Transformational System. It costs less than taking your family to a movie, if you'd even do that anymore. Bottom line, it is something that will change your stars and hopefully change your life. God bless. Thank you guys. Good night.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some OPTAVIA coaches or clients of OPTAVIA. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the OPTAVIA team.